So this next introduction is actually a good one for me. You know, sometimes you meet people who are going to change your life, and this is part of that introduction. So I was on sabbatical in 2011 in the Netherlands, and was speaking at a conference. At the end of the conference, this guy comes up to me and says, "How'd you like to get involved in some peer work with me?" And I got a group coming to the United States. I said, "Oh, sure." And I figured, you know, no big deal. This guy will get back to me eventually. It was the next day, I think it was, I got on the train and met with Rokus and his group. And that started me working very seriously with some of the organizations there in the Netherlands. We're continuing my work in the Netherlands. But it wasn't over yet. I get an email from Rokus and Harry, who have now met at this point, saying, "How'd you like to go to Romania?" And I said, "Romania? Why would you want to go to Romania?" And long story short, we landed up in a snowstorm in the middle of Bucharest in a van, taking care of homeless people with our friends from Centre Social in Bucharest. And as a result of all of that, I've been lucky enough to have 2 research fellows with me from Romania. So sometimes you shouldn't say yes to things because you never know how this is going to go. So I want to introduce Rokus, Loopik, and Harry Gras, my friends, who will be talking to you about work that they do in multiple countries. Gentlemen.
I am part of a lost generation, and I refuse to believe that I can change the world. I realize this may be a shock, but happiness comes from within is a lie. Money will make me happy. So in 30 years, I will tell my children they are not the most important thing in my life. My employer will know that I have my priorities straight because work is more important than family. I tell you this, once upon a time, families stayed together, but this will not be true in my era. This is a quick fix society. Experts tell me 30 years from now, I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. I do not concede that I will live in a country of my own making. In the future, environmental destruction will be the norm. No longer can it be said that my peers and I care about this earth. It will be evident that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It is foolish to presume that there is hope. And this will all be true unless we reverse it. There is hope. It is foolish to presume that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It will be evident that my peers and I care about this earth. No longer can it be said that environmental destruction will be the norm. In the future, I will live in a country of my own making. I do not concede that 30 years from now, I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. Experts tell me this is a quick fix society, but this will not be true in my era. Families stayed together once upon a time. I tell you this, family is more important than work. I have my priorities straight because my employer will know that they are not the most important thing in my life. So in 30 years, I will tell my children, money will make me happy is a lie. Happiness comes from within. I realize this may be a shock, but I can change the world, and I refuse to believe I am part of a lost generation.
Good afternoon, Albany. Thanks, Rich and Lorraine, for getting us over here. It's very special to us. We have a group of 15 people. Most of them came here for the first time. You saw this video. Harry and I are all about reframing whatever people offer us, saying that they have a problem. We try to challenge this problem. We try to change this problem into a challenge within 10 seconds. We got pretty good at it, so we try to show you today in our presentation something about it. This is a picture, not from last night, but it could have been from last night, wasn't it, Harry?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. So we were sitting in this hotel lobby, and there's this lady with another man. She's like far away from us. And I go to the restroom, I come back, she's sitting at our table, and Harry is talking to her. And I thought, oh no, don't do this, because there goes our preparation time for this presentation. So we started talking to this wonderful lady who was a headhunter for chefs. She works for Yankee Stadium, I don't know, big companies. And, well, I believe we left the bar at 12 or something. So if our presentation is kind of messed up, that's because why? How do you fall from your beliefs believes that is what Harry and I do with each other every day. We promised a long time ago together that whatever we would say to each other, we will never turn our backs towards each other. We are long-time companions. And Harry wasn't born on the face of this earth to make my life miserable, and it's the other way around too. So whatever we go through, we always talk through it. There are no problems in the world to us. We can solve them, isn't it, Harry?
Yeah, that's true.
Like in the video.
Yeah, like in the video.
Yeah.
And that's why we're standing over here, because we want to see you, and we want to see your eyes, because that's like about a connection.
Talking about it, Harry. Come on. Talking about it.
Because I want to see your eyes. And so we can make a connection. And then you are sitting down, nobody is streaming. So I like this, to get an interaction.
Yeah, this is like a picture from Sunday. We arrived in New York. It was raining, unluckily. But this is a few people of our group hiding from the rain and, watching this world miracle, which is called Times Square. For us, it's a world miracle. So before we proceed, I would like to do some, up there shouldn't stand misunderstandings and confessions. So we'd like to take away some misunderstandings before we start. We apologize. Maybe we're going to say some stuff that doesn't live up to your imagination, but again, we were not born to the face of this earth to make your life miserable. So we don't know you. We hope to know you, to get to know you a little bit better these 2 days. But
Actually, we want to rent a car.
Yeah.
Almost, we get a little bit angry, Rokus.
Yeah. She tried to charge me $800 extra by giving me another car that I asked for. Okay, yeah, that's what they warned us for Hertz. When you want the car you reserve, they'll want to give you another car, which is more expensive. Okay, everything coming from New York and the Netherlands is very okay. That's not true. A lot of bad stuff comes from America, but Americans tend to think that Europeans or Dutch people, they live in heaven. It's not true. If you're homeless in Amsterdam and homeless in New York, you feel miserable the same amount of, it's the same. Although things might be better in our country, you feel as miserable as being homeless in Bucharest, New York, or Amsterdam. There's no difference in the emotion that people go through. We know what recovery is all about. We don't know that. We never stigmatize. We do it too. We self-stigmatize. We have learned that recovery takes a lifetime, and it's for us the same, I guess.
Yes, I stigmatize because I hear also voices here, always. I'm wrong, I'm doing.
Yes. This little voice that started talking to us last night while we were working, and this voice was telling me, don't put on this cap, it's going to make you look silly before the audience. And you just passed your exam because you had to do your redo your maths exam, and I only passed it because of the head teacher of this school was a friend of my mother. He came into the exam place and told us that it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to get some coffee downstairs. I'll be back at 10:15. And in these 50 minutes, I wrote everything down. My neighbor wrote down. That's how I passed my exam. And then I knew that if I would have failed, I probably would have ended up in jail or something. But he was one of my gurus. We fully recovered. That's not true too. We are cynical. That's not true. We're very positive, Harry. Always very good. Interruption is not allowed. It is allowed. We have the best job in the Netherlands. Not true too. We have the best job in the world. I'll tell you more about it. The average age of a man in Holland is 58. It's not true. It's 78. In fact, we are 58. And if the average age is 78, we have 20 years to go. So no time to waste. Let's go on. We never correct. We do that. And that's a terrible thing. Correcting today is not allowed. Correcting, that's allowed. Restrooms for personnel are very okay. I was in Norway last Friday, and I visited a great ward with a staff that was wonderful. They were treating people with early psychosis, and they were pretty positive about their ward and how they managed to create a program that was really into recovery. And one of the peers walked me around, and I got them on one serious thing. They had a restroom for personnel. And in fact, if you do that, indirectly you will tell your clients who are admitted to this ward that you stop being you. That this restroom for personnel is not yours. And the restroom you use it very unhygienically. It's a mess. And so, you know, I know this wonderful lady in New York. Her name is Ellen Baxter. She created this housing program. She has 7 buildings. 250 people live there. Half of them are low income. The other half are people with multiple challenges. And when she started out, she asked the staff to put up signs, you know, to make people know where they're going. When they did it, they asked them to take them off. And she replaced the signs by putting artwork in there. So when you enter the building, you only see paintings, and beautiful ones too. And she located a kindergarten in the basement of these buildings and invited people in the neighborhood to bring their kids over there. And it's a cool program because when you're standing in front of this building, you don't know where you are. It could be just an apartment building. Nobody knows who lives there. You know, people are equal. And every floor has a tenant, is that the name? Tenant? That takes care of garbage that's been in front of the door and taken away. Superintendent. Okay, thanks. So Chisinau and Kotor, we're going to talk a little about, we're going to talk about recovery, but also the countries Harry and I go to, and we visit a lot of countries, but 2 of them are Moldova and Montenegro. That is where we train hospital staff how to do outreach work. You know, they're into discharging clients from the hellholes where they're staying to the villages. And we are teaching these nurses how to do house calls. It's pretty cool.
Kotor is a very beautiful place.
I got some pictures.
Yeah, they call it the land behind God's heck because he lost some stones. And I like your sentence that you say, I found an interesting place in Ghana, and we find also an interesting place in Ghana. So, but we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. You can win prizes, that's not true too. You can win prizes today.
Beautiful prizes.
Yeah, what are the prizes, Harry?
Okay, flowers over there.
Flowers? Dutch flowers, like tulips?
Yeah,
Okay.
and some souvenirs.
Souvenirs too,
Okay.
like wooden shoes and
Yes.
stuff? Wow, that's great. So,
You feel it here?
yeah, they want it, I know. And the way you can win it is, in our group of 15 people, we have a couple of special people. And there's Suzanne, who's in here, and here's Martin. And if you're going to ask them a question that hits them like a virtual brick, you might be winning these prizes, you know, a cap or tulips, flowers, or wooden shoes, clocks. And they're going to decide if it's a question that really makes them, you know, go on in their recovery. Is that okay, Suzanne? Good. Martin? Good too? Okay. We have some more misunderstandings. We should not bring money and knowledge to the poorest country in the world, which is Moldova. This is not true too. We should bring our money and our knowledge there, because what happens is that when people live in this country, they are really eager to learn. You know, they go to university, they get their degrees in psychiatry, psychology, engineering, whatever, headhunting, and once they get these degrees, they get out of that country very quickly. They move to Paris, they move to the Netherlands, they move to Germany to make money because they can't make money in their country. And I think we could solve a lot of the problems in the world if we would bring the money we have too much to these countries so that they don't have to leave it and stay there. Montenegrins are different than Moldovans because they live in heaven. Talking about environments, they are staying there. They will never leave Montenegro because it's so beautiful. We'll show you some pictures later. Moldova has a different story. Moldova is the poorest country in Europe. The United States of Europe is a strong entity. I hope you follow the news about all the refugees coming from Syria and what happens to Europe, that we can't find a way to create this United States of Europe. We're all islands in this part of the world, and we're dealing with this problem in totally different ways. So our opinion, to Harry, my opinion, we think borders don't exist. Even money doesn't exist. It's a piece of paper which we gave some value. And in fact, most of the things we see are not what it is. I saw this program with this Dutch famous TV presenter. She was on a boat going through Istanbul on the Bosporus, which is a river there. And she was telling the viewers of this program that on the left side it was Europe, and on the right side it was Asia. And the only thing I could think was, what a bullshit story. We gave names to these countries, but in fact they don't exist. The world belongs to everybody. So all these 100,000 of Syrians who are trying to escape their country, risking their lives. At this moment, people are drowning in the seas in the south of Europe, trying to get to Italy, to Greece, to Spain. And they have all the reasons to do it. After the Second World War, when we were going through hunger in Europe, there was no food. You know what Europeans did? They came to your country. They fled, massive people fled to Canada, to America, to Australia. We did the same thing. And now, when Syrians are coming, we are trying to keep them where they are. It's a crazy world. We think they have the right to come to our country. Are we on track, Harry? Rich people share better, that's not true too. Poor people don't share, that's not true too. It's the other way around. Poor people share better. When you go to Moldova and you visit these professionals which we train, they'll invite you at their homes at night, and they'll share their last meal with you. Rich people don't share very well. Mental health in Moldova and Montenegro are way ahead of us. It's not true too. We visited the hospitals there, and I have a dog at home. His name is Joe. He's our social worker. Whenever my wife raises her voice to me, he starts barking. So very good. You can measure your marriage and all that. But I wouldn't leave my dog Joe in these hospitals for 10 minutes, to be quite honest. It's very terrible. The conditions are appalling in these psychiatric facilities, and we should bring our money over there, and our chairs and our beds and clothes and whatever we can take there to make the lives of these people who are needed there a little bit better. Yeah. So this is a sign of a clinic which is in Moldova. This is like one of the buildings that is up there. In fact, I must say this one is closed, but the one that is open doesn't look very much better than this one. These are the conditions that people stay in these hospitals. I was there a couple of months ago, and I was walking around on this hospital ground, and suddenly I saw this room, and the guy was a guy at the window, a very young guy, was doing like this. And I spoke, I'm sorry for that, but I gave him a few cigarettes through the window because he couldn't get out. So I walked around to the main entrance and asked the nurses if I could see this ward. And this was a room, like 1/4 of this room, and it was stacked with beds, like 25 or something. And the beds were like this together. The smell was awful, and this was their observation ward. And 25 men sleep there, men with various challenges, that I can see all kinds of sorts of problems that people have. And the biggest shock was that some men were in this room. They were not allowed to get out for 20 years. That was their home. So these are the conditions that people working there. These are people from Moldova. No, Montenegro, isn't it, Harry? They came to...
Session.
Yes.
Session, this is Derek, so...
Yeah, the one in the middle, up front. And Ionel is a small lady left of him, And she's from Romania, and she's very small, but she's very hard to deal with. She finds all these European money to take to these countries and train people. She's like a hard bargain. You know, if you have to deal with her, I can't do it. I'm too small for her. She's really great. And she has a reason to do that. She finds all these funds to train teams in all these countries where conditions are very poor. And the guy on the right, that's a funny guy, because we trained him. And this guy was coming to the training in boss clothes every day. And you know how much money this guy is making per month? He makes $300 per month, working 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I asked him, how is this possible? You make $300 per month. How can you wear these boss clothes? And it was very funny because he said, Rokus, if you want to come back here, there's one question you would never ask a guy from Montenegro. Don't ask him how he makes his money, because we make money in a totally different way. And there's a reason for that, because people have to, you know. So Rich was talking about corruption. These countries have no other way of survival than being corrupt. Okay. This is a picture from Moldova. We visited a ward. Tell something about it.
And this is the ward in Moldova, psychiatric ward. And there are nurses and psychiatrists. You know how much a nurse earns per month?
The guy next to me.
The guy next to Rokus. What do you think? If you have rights, you can win a prize. Okay, I shall tell you. But it's $50. $50 a month. And a psychiatrist is about €200.
And half of that goes to rent.
Yes. And they're living together with all families.
Yeah. And still, these people manage to look at their clients in a very loving way. You know, they love what they do. If they would be clever, they would leave this hospital and go to school, learn something different, because this will never be a moneymaker for them. So their heart is in it. They'll share their last meal with you. And people have a reason to do this work. And this ward was also existing of 6, maybe 8 separate rooms with 8 beds in it. And these men are never allowed to leave this room. You know, they're there for years, which is amazing. Talking about recovery, how can you expect people to recover by keeping them in a room for so many years? Here are these people again, wonderful people. Did you tell how much a psychiatrist earns? $300 per month. Yeah. So you can imagine if you have a reason to leave your country because of making more money in the Netherlands. These people came to the Netherlands. One of the psychiatrists asked a Dutch psychiatrist how much he earned. And the Dutch psychiatrist asked him, do you really want to know? Because he knew he was in big trouble, you know, getting this question. Yeah, I really want to know. So I make between 80,000 and 120,000 euros per year. And the guy almost fainted. He said, well, is there any vacancy? He said, imagine that. You know, we in the rich West, we earn so much money. Last week I was in Norway. There were some nurses complaining about how hard the conditions were on their wards. Remember? Feeling homeless in Amsterdam, or New York feels the same misery for nurses who are looking out for a better environment. They feel as miserable as nurses over there. The only difference is that if you work in the Netherlands or Norway, and on Sunday evening you're thinking about going to work on Monday, and you might feel like not good about it because you're nervous and you don't like your job. The real thing is that these people go to hell. When you live in Norway and you go to your job on Monday, you go to hell. Because it's the best place you can ever work. So, and it changed their perception. I showed these pictures to them. And they were kind of, their face went red. And these Norwegian nurses. There's not a lot to complain about when you live in these rich Western countries. Okay, this is one of the wards in Montenegro. every ward is closed, and they look like jails. When you go in, there was one ward consisting of 4 rooms, 4 men lived there, and a nurse would never go in there because these men were so-called dangerous. They had cameras in every room, and they would watch them all day, but no nurse would dare to go in because these men had committed things that were really bad. But in the Netherlands, we have high-tech wards where men like that stay. They have their own really fancy kitchen. They can cook steaks every day. When you walk in these facilities, there's a library, there's an internet cafe, there's a sports room, and every room there is a guy. There's somebody to talk to. There are the conditions in Dutch prisons and in Dutch psychiatric wards. It's very good. I want to stay there. So these are some nurses from Moldova, and it's really cool working with them because these people are eager to learn new stuff. Whenever we go there, we're having the greatest time because they have like not 100, but 200% focus. They want to have the new stuff. They want to have what you have because they know what they miss. They know what they're doing, this reading and teaching and learning for. There's a reason to get out of this. And these are wonderful people to work with.
That guy is Andre?
Yeah.
Andre, I was his mother is a general doctor, and also his father, and I was there at home. And I was sitting there in the kitchen, and they spoke to me, they showed me their family history, and Andre as a kid, his brother as a kid, he's living outside because also his brother is living by his parents to earn money.
Talking about community.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. These are some nurses. This is the ambulance of this big hospital. These are all Russian army trucks. This is our taxi driver. This is the man also who told me, never ask a man how he makes his money. He has probably about 4 professions. One day, part of the day, he's a taxi driver. The other part, he'll be in a restaurant or another. This is Kotor. This seems like heaven, isn't it? It's amazing. It's like a Norwegian fjord and in the south of Europe. And somewhere in the back where the city ends, there's this hospital where people are hidden away from the community. And we try to teach them outreach work. This is the staff of the hospital, always really into learning and always dressed up when they come to the training. They have a reason for that. Palm trees on the hospital terrain, which is kind of beautiful. This is what when we started out training them, we were in the classroom, teaching them about RAD, about peer support, and they loved it. And then one day, we thought about maybe we should make them do some house calls. We asked them, how many of you did do a house call in your professional life? Nobody. They never did a house call. And we couldn't believe it because we only do house calls. And so we took him out to do house calls, and this is an amazing guy. And it was a life-changing event, both for the nurse and for this person that was visiting at home. This guy thought he won the lottery. So what are you doing here? Yeah, we're coming to your home. And he said, it's the first time in 10 years. How come? Yeah, we're praying about these 2 crazy guys having a bonus. And this man couldn't believe that the nurses were coming to his home. He stayed there for a couple of hours, and he showed us around. And I shot a little movie. Great! He showed us everything in his house, his gadgets. It was really cool. Look at this can. It seems like a soda can. Something that... It was very nice, beautiful. Yes. Oh,
This Rokus. for a car, for USB, for earphones.
Where did he buy this? Where did he buy this?
Aqui se comprou, aqui se comprou.
Okay, we gave them some assignments during the training, and we asked them to tell their own recovery story, or tell the story of a client they really loved. And the guy in the boss clothes, he was very clever, and he came up with this guy who was a client in the hospital. And all these people had amazing talents which they didn't know about. Dressed up for the occasion to play this song for all these nurses who work there. Harry, who's this? What is this?
This is me with my kids and my wife. Because I'm a lucky guy, I'm not a peer. I'm a psychiatric nurse, and I'm working on the street until 1995 now, until now, to get people who are finding care and who are addicted to using drugs. Maybe suffering from a mental illness. So, but I'm very lucky because I think, whoa, and me later I can translate what that means, because I think it's working on what works. And there is hope because this, why I'm lucky, because they have no psychiatric disease. And I hope that that's still going on that way. But you never know. And I like the word hip-hop recovery, because your life goes like this way. Also, I don't like stabilized life. So this is my family. And I have strange names because the oldest one is Chico, and the second one is he's Reiki. The third one is Hoagie from Baywatch. From Baywatch. And the last one is Mookie, she's 18. My wife, she said. And I'm very proud. And that's the same. Because there is no difference between us and the clients. So they're all the same. This is beautiful. This is Kotar. It's so amazing.
If you ever have a chance to go to Europe, go to this place. To Montenegro. It's the most beautiful destination you could have.
Take a plane to Dubrovnik, rent a car. It's about 50 kilometers and you go to Kotar. It's beautiful. This is an amazing story about that guy. The last time I take my wife with me because he's also working in the field, and he was sitting there every day. And you see, there's a transistor radio, and he's playing every day. I was sitting next to him, and the whole week he was saying nothing to me. And we were leaving, and I want to give him a hand, and he's doing like this. He was only smiling. He said, "Bye." That was beautiful. It's got goosebumps. This is also the psychiatric ward in Kotar. You see, it's like a prison. It's really like a prison.
This is the place where where people who are admitted to the hospital come in, mostly with a police car or ambulance, and they don't have like peers welcoming them, telling them that they'll make their stay as short as possible. They are brought into this room, aggressive or not, and this hospital staff has to deal with it in some way, and it's very difficult conditions. What's this, Harry?
This is in Moldova, and you see this is the normal streets in Moldova. They buy clothes on the street because they haven't any money. when you are there an old lady or an old woman and you're retired, you get 100 lei, that's €5 a month. So they are sitting and begging because they get more money with begging.
It's your retirement.
Yeah.
€5 a month.
Yes. So all these want a job, and you still tell them already they want to go abroad. They want to go to Europe. So this was Jelena's first house call, because I'm a practical guy, and I think we speak too much in psychiatry, really. And we have to feel it. You have to feel it in your body and in your intuition. And we're only talking about the office. That's not good, I think. So you have to practice and to practice. I think 1 hour practice say more than 1,000 words. So we introduced the house calls, and actually I want to do it the whole week, doing house calls to train them, yeah. And I learn also from them.
And it's pretty funny, you know what they did, all these nurses, we kind of tuned them into it. But, so we were talking at the end of Tuesday, training day, to them about the house calls on Wednesday. And, you know, we learned what do you look out for when you do a home visit, how do you communicate with people. And the next morning they showed up. They showed up with flowers, with presents. I don't know what to give to these clients, which is wonderful. It's reminded me of, why not, when you do a house call, bring a present? Is that something stupid? No, it's really cool how to create motivation for people who are not into treatment. That is giving them what they want. I took Housing First to the Netherlands, which is created in New York, which is every city in America has Housing First programs. And Housing First, giving away homes to people without preconditions in every city in the world, also in Europe, they have a lot now too. It creates 85% success rate. You know what Dutch people ask when I take groups to New York and they see Santander-Barris, the CEO, telling them that he has an 85% success rate? You know what Dutch people ask him? Can you guess? You can win a prize if you have the right answer. Come on. Come on! You walk this path. Or tulips. They ask him why he gets
Oscar, because he's my witness. She signed my paper. That's beautiful.
What do they ask? Can you guess? Well, that's a good question, but it's not what they ask. Yeah, she's the first one too. Yeah. No, they ask him why doesn't it work for 15%. That is what welfare in the Netherlands does to your brain. You know, when you have too much money, you ask these silly questions. So he asked them, so tell me, you paid this guy, Rokus, a lot of money to take you to America. Oh, look at that, that's beautiful. Are they real parents?
No.
Oh, artificial. I thought Americans applauded everything. It's my book, so I take it applaud every achievement. Come on, it's about recovery. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, so 85% success rate. You know, living in a rich country makes you ask silly questions. So he asks me, Rokus, these people that pay you a lot of money to get you to take them to New York. I tell them I'm a successful guy and they want to know about my failure. They fly 6,000 miles to get over here. What is this silly country? Where do you come from? And that is sometimes what happens when you have too much money. You look at things from the dark side, and when you look from the perspective of clients and you want to create motivation, we think you should give them what they ask for. So if people ask you for love, Celia, we should give them love. If we would ask them for a home, we should give them a home. If they ask for a bicycle, give them a bicycle. In my homeless team, when people would come in the winter, Harry does the same. We, despite the fact that we're not allowed by the CEO from our hospitals, we have a separate foundation. It's quite, we hide it a little. When a guy comes in bare feet, mid-winter, telling us he's cold, we will take him to the most expensive shoe shop, and we tell him, choose a pair. which do you want? And he walks out with a pair of $500 shoes. And I'll tell you, this guy is your friend forever. He will come back the next day. He will come back the day after. He will come back the week after, or the month, or the year. And if we want to really motivate people, build communities, we should give them what they ask for. It is the clever thing to do. Don't offer them medication. I offered people for the first 20 years of outreach in Amsterdam, I offered them medication on a Friday afternoon, 5 minutes at 5, just before we close. And most clients would swear at me, saying, "What are you doing? You're giving me medication. The medication, it makes me go into this twilight zone. So if I go into this twilight zone, other homeless people steal my backpack. And you're offering me medication? Are you like a fascist guy? How can you do that?" And he was right. I didn't listen well. If I would have listened well, I would have given him money to go sleep in a hotel, which is clever. Oh, geez, I drifted off. Reframing, I had this other situation. This nurse comes up to me about housing first client. They housed this person, and this housing first client, he got into his home, and a couple of months after that, she went to visit him, and apart from him, there were 6 other people in this home. He rented out bedrooms to other homeless people. And she told me, we should call the police, because this guy is like a fraud. He's making money over our backs, over other homeless people. And I told her, yeah, I told her, he's a businessman. You should give him a job as a manager at the Salvation Army. He knows how to run a shelter. Why convict him?
So, this is very important because I don't know what recovery is, because it's for every person not the same. But when you are doing house calls, we talk about it after house calls, and how does that feel? And she's standing here, and look at her body language. She said, "Oh geez, what's happening over here?" So she said, "Okay, this is persistence, perseverance. Okay."
These are slides I got from a training which I attended myself. And the training was because I messed up my marriage, almost. I was in deep trouble. One day I came home, my suitcase was at the front of the door, and my wife told me, maybe you should go somewhere else, live somewhere else. And it was because I was working like 7 days a week with my homeless team, which was rock and roll in Amsterdam. I loved it. When we finished work, we would go to pubs and concerts and whatever. And one day she got fed up, quite right. And I followed this training, and they lock you up for 5 days in the training location. When I wanted to go to the bathroom, there was a person standing at the door asking me, "Are you sure?" I said, "What do you mean? Are you sure you want to go to the bathroom?" I said, "Yeah, I have to go." "Why?" I asked him, why are you holding me? He said, "Well, maybe in these 5 minutes when you're going to the bathroom, the most important lesson in this training will pass, and you would have missed it. Are you sure you have to go?" I went back to my chair, I hold my pee for 2 hours. And it works. This is the lifeline we walk. Most people, all people are born with courage. Young kids look at the world in a most profound, positive way. They will jump into anything. And this is where we die somewhere. I printed an old man. And on this lifeline, we go through like events. Hopefully they're positive events, but we know all, we heard today, that a lot of people go through negative events. Events that really stick to your brain and stay with you for the rest of your life. And sometimes these events come together in what you call concepts or lists or symbols, values, and it's all because of people really feel hurt. And when you're confronted with a new experience, most people who went through trauma will react to this trauma according to their traumas they went through. So it brings them back to the trash can of their life. It makes them feel hopeless. It makes them feel like desperate. It makes them feel unable to change whatever happened in their life. it makes them also, I accused my parents for years for the fact that they messed up their marriage. And that because of that, I couldn't cope with school. I had to write everything down from my neighbor. I couldn't concentrate at school. I was only thinking about traveling the world. I hated school. I hated the head teacher, although he saved my ass in the end. It's all about being powerless. People have no power, feeling of power with which they can change their life. And ratio and routine are also some of the states of mind that can keep you in your comfort zone. I'm working with a famous presenter in the Netherlands now, and we're making a TV program which is not housing first but money first. We gave 5 homeless people in Amsterdam a bank pass with 10,000 euros on it, and we're following them with a camera. And guess what? Like housing first, 80% of people who are offered that amount of money do wise things with the money. They do things despite addiction, despite all psychiatric challenges. They do the right thing. So what Harry and I do with everything we do, with our trips, with our trainings, we try to give people a life event that is so overwhelmingly positive that the only perspective they have, they can develop, is something good. So these 15 people, we promise them that when we are about to hit the plane on Monday, they want to stay. They don't want to go home. They want to become American. That is what we aim for with doing these trips. And I have to thank the speakers before us and the audience here, because up till now, and you could ask Suzanne, you could ask Martin what they went through. It's a positive experience. Yesterday at People Inc., you can't imagine what you gave to this group. You changed their perception on their own trauma, on other people's trauma, and what you can do about it. And it's a powerful thing. It is, I think, what we should offer people. We can never erase the past. We can never look in the future because it's very uncertain, but at least we can, in the here and now, we could give people an experience that is so positive, that is so of being a human, of creating connection and community. And I think whatever we should do every day, we should aim for what most people call the impossible. And then we can create growth, create new lifelines, which is all about responsibility, about thinking about solutions, showing initiative, being powerful, being human. Don't talk about hopeless, use other words. Hopeless means really you're unaware of opportunities. If you're antisocial, you're starting to learn to think for yourself. If you're manic, you're just having high expectations of yourself, which is much nicer. If a psychiatrist would say that to me, I would love the guy, I would kiss him. I'll use your medication, whatever. This is what we try to do. I hope you liked our presentation. Questions?